My name is Jakob Munck, and in this short lecture, I'll talk about Mary, Virgin Mary, in the spiritual world. And we have two different words here. Maybe they are not easy to understand for everyone. One is Virgin Mary, the other is the spiritual world. Well, who's Virgin Mary? You know Virgin Mary, she was, in the New Testament, she was mother of Jesus. If you go to Österreich, old part of the Habsburgian monarchy in Vienna, and visit the National Museum in Vienna, then you can find a little statue, the oldest cultural artifact in Europe. It is called Venus of Willendorf. Venus of Willendorf. That's the name she was given when she was found around 100 years ago by archaeologists from Germany. And this figure, it's around 24,000 years old. It's the first cultural artifact we have here in Europe. And this is the actual start of the cult of Virgin Mary. So Virgin Mary is a very central figure in the European cultural and spiritual history. Second, what is spirituality? Well, spirituality is the teaching about the spirit. And what is the spirit? Well, you know that there is a difference between a stone and a human being. There is a difference between a living and a dead animal. There is a difference between me when I'm alive like now and when I pass away, I'm dead. So I'm not identical with my body alone. I'm not identical with the atoms and electrons that my body is consisting of. I have something more. And this something more is called the spirit. In the universe, all everywhere where you have living organisms, no matter what kind of organisms, they all have spirits. The spirits are different. My spirit is not the same as the spirit of a cat or the spirit of a tree, but we all have spirits, and that is the same as I'm saying there is a spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, there are different levels of spirits, and the highest level, there you find the highest spirits of all. It is God himself. But you also have Virgin Mary, according to Christian belief and also according to Islamic belief, because Virgin Mary is a very important figure in Islam. But in Christianity, she's called the Mother of God, because as Christians, we consider Jesus Christ to be God himself. He's both the Son of God and also God himself, according to the teaching of Trinity. But Virgin Mary, she's the Mother of God. That means she's a very, very high standing spirit. And that's the reason why people have been praying, including myself, for thousands of years to Virgin Mary, because she is one of the most central figures in the spiritual world. And also because she has these properties that we admire. She has such a strong will, such a huge knowledge about humanity and everything important, about me as a person, and about every other living beings, because she is kind of the mother of this world we are living in. So she has a strong will, she has a lot of knowledge, she has a very high ethic. That means that she's trying to make things better. Her whole life had only one person to help had only one purpose, and that purpose was to help her son Jesus, to make her husband happy, to make Jesus what he desired to be, namely the Son of God and the sacrifice that was needed to save all human beings in the world. That is the Christian belief, and Muslims has some way another concept of the role of Virgin Mary. But I don't want to go into details because I believe they don't matter right now. Virgin Mary is a very central figure, and because she has these very fantastic properties, then we pray to Virgin Mary. She has the strong will, she has a lot of knowledge, she has a very high ethic, and she has a excellent spirituality herself. And these are the four properties that I need as a human being. These are the four properties that my country, Denmark, needs. These are the four properties that every country in the world, the United States, France, Russia, Indonesia, Philippines, Germany, you can name any country you want. All of them needs the will of the population to survive, to stick together, and to reach common goals. They need knowledge, that means education, to make their population brighter and to earn money, to have a meaningful life. They need to have some kind of ethic, some standard moral goals that they can follow, so everything will not be divided into fighting tribes and religious sects and so on. And of course they need a lot of spirituality, because spirituality is the kind of religion, the concept of why are you here? What is a human being? That's very important. If you have a society and a world, you need to have some concept of spirituality. For example, the question, has the human life a real value? Or are we only biological machines like the materialists claim? Am I a really living being, or am I only a biological computer that is running by itself by the natural laws? So I'm only run by cause and effect as every other physical phenomenon in this world. Well, as a Christian, I believe I'm a living human being and I have another value than, for example, a car or a microphone or video camera or a computer or anything that is non-living. Well, Mary is the Mother of God. She is a high spirit. The Mariological ideals are ideals for every human being in the whole world, including you and me. The four Mariological properties are properties that we need to implement in the world to make peace and to make this world a better place to live. Well, but when we're talking about spirits, I want to mention also that not all spirits are good. There are also evil spirits. You know about Anders Breivik for Norway. He killed 77 people. He made a big bomb and then he went out to a little island and killed. He took with him a lot of guns and then he killed all the members of the Social Democratic Party. They had a summer camp, the young members of this party. He killed them one by one. He was a mass murderer. He was, and probably he is, an evil person. And he has a spirit too. So of course spirits are not always good. They can also be evil. And that's the reason why you can't just want to be in contact with the spiritual world, because the spiritual world is many things. There are good and bad spirits, and you better take care of the evil spirits because they can do a lot of harm in your life too. That's why Virgin Mary is the anchor, the icon that we need. Well, we need Virgin Mary icons, and I'll show you a Virgin Mary icon. Here, you see my favorite Virgin Mary icon. I bought it from a Danish icon producer, an old lady who painted these icons herself. I bought it 5 years ago, and I really love it because I think it portraits Virgin Mary in a very, very good way. And Virgin Mary is the best person you can pray to, and when you want to meditate, like I do myself, I visualize Virgin Mary, and that's the way I feel I get in contact with the spiritual world, and I can gain a lot of benefits from the words I hear from Virgin Mary, and the calmness, the satisfaction, spiritual satisfaction I get from being in contact with more than just the physical world. Well, for a materialist, there's nothing better than sex and food. Sex and food. Sex and food is okay for me, no problem. But there is something more in the world than sex and food. Now that's why you need to get in contact, to pray and to meditate with Virgin Mary. Unless you have another saint that is just as good as Virgin Mary. Maybe. But you need to find out how to attract the good spirits and to avoid the bad spirits. That's the key to success everywhere, in a society, in the world, and in your personal life, and in mine too. That was all. Thank you for listening.